The First Descendant, a new sci-fi looter shooter game hitting the airways heavy with insane player counts from launch week. I've played about 8 hours so far and I'm running closer to my 10 hours, so I wanted to do a first impression and honest review and be as truthful and honest as I can across the board. So the game did open up with a nice intro, kind of outlining the way the world of the Descendants works and what you're getting into. It was kind of like a nice way to get you invested in the game. If you haven't seen any ads or any promo for it, this told you everything the game is about. The story was rooted in fantasy with similar vibes to a lot of other games out there, but when you're talking about space and aliens, how much can you really say that's new in the genre? Not that much, so you kind of expect things to be quite similar. It did feel a lot like a Gears of War type story with an Anthem, Destiny, and Warframe type game setup, so I felt like the Gears of War's grittiness with a little bit of Warframe and Destiny kind of gameplay. The visuals were very high quality, but this isn't Nexon's first rodeo. This is to be expected. I did find it very reminiscent of one of their older games, Vindictus. I feel like the mesh styles were quite similar and the way they moved is very reminiscent of Vindictus. I don't know if you've played it, but if you have, do you understand what I mean? And then I have to talk about the cinematics. They drew me into the game because it's very high quality. I was like, wow, this is kind of like a 3D movie, and it just made you feel like I am playing through a story from the jump. And the first missions felt like it was story part of the game, even at the training stages, which helps as well because most games, they just put you on a random training course and say, hey, use this button to do this and use that button to do that. And there's not much of a story behind it, but this training stage had a very good intertwined story with the training and the actual game storyline. The fact that we had a clear enemy and reason for fighting laid out from the very start was great. It felt a bit like a Helldivers thing, which is what we kind of want nowadays, something that holds value. As in the past, we've had a lot of games that just give you a broad enemy, and until late game you don't even know who you're fighting or what you're fighting for. So for this, laying it out so early on was great because now I know I'm here to get this guy because he's stealing stuff and he's destroying the world and he's trying to destroy both worlds. I need to stop this guy. And then now, after you finished your training and you've gone through all the cutscenes and you've got that little bit of an intro, it takes roughly around 10 minutes, and then you get ported to the home base, Lyon. That's when we get the regular Nexon MMORPG mobile game type setting where everyone looks the same. You're in a little kind of starting zone where you can see everyone running around, and it showed me exactly where they're going to be making their money. There was literally dozens of identical lookalikes. Everyone looked like me or looked like each other. It was uncanny. So they're going to do things like obviously implement skins and gear to customize your descendant, but here's my problem. I went to check how much these things cost, and I'm telling you, if you want to buy customization options and customization parts, you might as well go take out a loan because you're not going to be able to afford it. And if you're a brokey like me, you're going to be looking dusty for your whole gameplay. So yes, it's a free-to-play game, but if you want anything, it's going to cost you a penny. Some packs cost upwards of $100, which is like 5,000 tokens in game, which is literally $100 in real life. That's scary expensive for a pack. And not only that, it's mostly cosmetic packs, so you're not really getting much from it, but a lot of them did give you items such as different builds and things already pre-installed, so you could actually buy something that would help you in your gameplay. But the thing I do like about it was the fact that you could actually grind for these things in-game, and you could get all these things through your hard work and grinding or events. But trust me, the way it seems is like it's going to take you a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of luck on the RNG to actually get these things in-game and not purchased. Obviously, there is a sense of pay to win with the purchasable weapons and attachments, but I found that without these things, you can still play the game and still get by. It's just going to be a lot harder, which is to be expected from a free-to-play game. Then after a while, I did notice backspace. So I was out doing my thing, going around doing missions, and as a looter, you already know backspace is very important. And in this game, it's very important because you could get up to 30, 40 to 50 drops per mission you do, and then if you don't have the backspace for it, you're gonna have to dismantle a lot of things or just throw them away. But if you do have time, you can go back to Albion and go back to your main cities and sell these things to get a little bit of in-game currency. But again, this is where you have to buy in or struggle with having to go back all the time. And now I want to ask you the question, is this normal? Are these prices normal and this is how it should be? Because for me, if it's only cosmetics and things, the price should not be up to $100. That is the same as buying like 4 or 5 AAA games. But I did like the way the setup is really community driven. So in Albion, again, you see all the players running around, and when you're out on the different maps, you see players running around. And let's say you're doing a mission or anything, players in the open world can literally come by, start that same mission, and then they get ported to you, and you're literally doing the mission from where you are. They just join you, and it's really easy to complete it. So you could be having a really tough time, then someone might be running by doing the same mission as you, and they'll literally just join your party, and then now you're doing the mission together, which makes it so much easier, and it just helps you fly through. And even if you're not doing the mission and you literally just jump into the fight, it adds you into the mission, and then you help them complete the mission, and you also get the rewards. So it's like a win-win situation, and it's very, very nice to be a community-driven game, which is very, very good, especially for players who aren't too comfortable with the whole setup. I did get a little confused in the main city because after the tutorial, I was kind of a little bit overwhelmed because there was so much going on in the main city and I wasn't used to it. I think maybe starting players off after the training into like a smaller zone and have them kind of work their way from there to the main zone, give them a little more time to like get accustomed to the game before throwing them in this huge city with so many things going around, so many players running around, not knowing where to go, not even knowing how to do your fast ports yet or anything. So it's like very, very confusing at the start. But overall, the game did have a very, very MMORPG feel to it, which I love because I grew up on MMORPGs. I love MMORPGs, and I played quite a few that Nexon made, so it kind of like felt like I was back home. And mixing it in with the space lore, similar to like a Halo game, with meshes like Gears of War mixed with like a Tekken type of style, is pretty cool in my opinion. I would have liked if there was like a little bit more customization options for your legend. So if you chose a Descendant, you could choose how they look in terms of like their facial features and things, but then you would have to choose a class and you'd be locked to that class with the option to then buy pre-made Descendants that came looking a certain way and you couldn't change those at all except for like their cosmetics and their armor types. A good thing about the game is it is a looter game. That means when you go out on the missions, you can pick things up and then you can get your items, you can upgrade them, and sometimes if you're lucky, RNG may favor you, or during an event, you can pick up some crazy good gear. This also adds to that grind aspect, which is great for those addiction type gamers who love to grind. You can grind this game for hundreds of hours. And if you play something like Warframe and sometimes you want to take a break but you want to play something else, this is a good game to jump to and also play. And we can also say, look, Nexon, they know their audience because this bunny characters and all the other female characters, they did fanfare to the max. I know you've seen the TikToks, but it's crazy, but they know their audience, and this is going to keep people stuck into the game, and this is how you get people to see those viral clips on TikTok, and they're gonna be like, okay, what game is this? I need to go play this game. Where can I download it? And then they're like, oh, free to play? Ooh, I'm in. And then now let's talk about the campaign. At first, it's fun because it reminds you of like an MMORPG, and plus the help from other people that's running around doing the same things as you, it makes it like go past very quickly, and it's kind of enjoyable. But then once you get into the repetitiveness, it slows down your brain and boredom kicks in. The missions are kind of all the same: kill, collect, protect, and it's just over and over again. And going through one zone, you could do maybe 20 of these missions. Then you get to go to your final dungeon type mission. Then after that, you do your big giant raid that ends off that location. And it's just like, I had to do 20 things that were just the exact same thing over and over again. It kind of kills your brain, and I'm not a big fan of it. But again, it's very styled like an MMORPG. And the worst part about things like that is when you enter an instance that's like a repetitive one, you'll start with like your 4-man group, and then after some time you get to like a wave 5 or a wave 6, then people start dropping off because they're bored. And then you end up being in a room with no people, and then now you have to leave as well. The sheep mindset sets in, and then everyone just starts leaving because one person left. Now it's 3, now it's 2, and now you're on your own. So it kind of makes sense to make it a little bit more engaging so you don't turn off your interest switch and you actually stayed locked in. But the game is crossplay and has a lot of different biomes to go through. So while you're questing, now and again, you'll be reawoken and drawn in again because you're seeing something new. The one thing I did pull away from this was the amount of voice acting. But this is coming from Nexon, so it's expected to me because they do voice act like a lot of their MMORPGs. And with AI and things now, it makes it a lot more easier. It was really nice to see that everything was voice acted. But I have to say one thing. At some points, the voice acting did get very, very annoying because you're in the middle of a heated combat and you're talking about, hey, this person, and you're like, what the hell, just shut up. I'm trying to fight. Let me fight. Just talk after I do my fight. And then when you get to the cutscenes, a lot of the times, the lip syncing was not the same as the audio sync, and it just looked weird. I think it's either Japanese or Korean, I'm not sure. I think if you have it locked into that, it might sync up a little bit better. But for the English dub, didn't work. But overall, the game does have its ups and its downs. Does it stay and beat the competition? I think we'll see very high numbers for maybe the next 3 to 5 months, and then after that we'll hit the like 60 to 100,000 every 24 hours. I don't see it as a game that's gonna come and take everyone by storm, but I see it as something that's gonna stay for a while and people are gonna enjoy it for like years to come. I don't see it dying out as much as some other games have. So I do think it has a little bit of longevity, and it's something that people are always going to come back to and touch on time after time. But the one thing I must say is the fact that right now, because it's so fresh, there is a lack of content. And I've seen a lot of players who have literally got to endgame so quickly, and it's like, how did you manage to do that? And now it's like, how fast is Nexon going to put out new things to keep these people sated? They're not going to wait around. They're not going to keep doing the same missions over and over again. So how fast are they going to be putting out new content to sate the player base? Because when you have over 200,000 people logging in every 24 hours, you have to have new content to keep them engaged. How fast are they going to be able to keep up with that? And personally, is it something I see myself playing? I say yes in a way. I think I might spend maybe 10 hours a month here and there playing the game and getting things. And I do see myself coming back when there's an event or any special rates. I will come back and play for a little bit, get myself some items so I don't lag behind too much with the rest of the competition. But yeah, I'm still kind of early hours. I think I'm roughly around 8 hours. I'm going to probably, by the time this video comes out, I'll be looking around 12 hours of gameplay. I'm going to continue playing and see how it turns out. But so far, it's not too bad. I do have to say that I get bored after like 2 hours of playing. Then I have to switch off and go play something else. So that's not a very good sign. But let's see how it goes. But don't forget, guys, if you like my reviews and you like the opinions I bring and you have similar opinions, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below your opinions and what you think about the game. Have you played it? And if you have, how long have you played it for? And are you still enjoying the experience? How long does it take before you start getting bored and want to log off? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.